The Great Depression of the 1930s was Canada's darkest economic hour, a time when dreams of prosperity crumbled, and millions faced hunger and homelessness. In British Columbia, where resource industries like logging and mining collapsed, the crisis was severe. The federal government's response? Unemployment relief camps, a controversial experiment aimed at single, jobless men. In this video, we'll dig deep into whether these camps were economically viable, compare their infrastructure to Vancouver's urban slums, and unpack what historians reveal about Canada's relief efforts. This is a story of resilience, failure, and the roots of our modern welfare state. Welcome to a detailed journey through Canada's Great Depression. When the stock market crashed in October 1929, Canada's economy spiraled. By 1933, unemployment hit 30%, and 1 in 5 Canadians depended on government relief. British Columbia, reliant on exports like timber and fish, was battered as global markets completely dried up. Vancouver became a magnet for unemployed men, many young, single, and transient, searching for work that didn't exist. The city's relief system completely buckled, with municipal budgets strained to the breaking point. In 1932, Prime Minister R.B. Bennett's Conservative government launched unemployment relief camps, managed by the Department of National Defense. These camps housed over 170,000 men by 1936, offering shelter, food, clothing, and medical care in exchange for 44-hour work weeks on public projects. Things like roads, bridges, airstrips, and reforestation. For a meager 20 cents a day, about $3.50 in today's dollars. The camps were pitched as solutions to unemployment and urban unrest. Let's take a moment to break down the economics. The relief camps were a low-cost strategy for the government. Paying 20 cents a day per worker was far cheaper than urban relief programs, which often cost municipalities $2 to $3 per person weekly. By 1936, the camps delivered 10 million workdays, building infrastructure like the Trans-Canada Highway's early segments and remote airstrips, such as those near Prince George. The federal government spent roughly $20 million on these camps, about $400 million in today's money, a fraction of the $1.2 billion in total relief spending during the Depression. For a cash-strapped government, this seemed efficient, creating tangible assets while keeping men fed and occupied. But efficiency doesn't equal effectiveness. Historians like Pierre Burton argue that camps' output was often subpar. Roads like those in BC's interior were poorly planned with shoddy construction, leading to rapid deterioration. A 1935 government report noted that many projects, such as tree planting initiatives, had minimal long-term economic value due to inadequate oversight. These camps didn't train workers for skilled jobs or stimulate local economies, as wages were too low for men to spend meaningfully. Some cities, including BC labor leaders, called the camps slave labor, arguing they suppressed wages for skilled workers elsewhere. The camp's isolation also had a hidden motive, removing young men from cities like Vancouver, where their protests, like the 1931 Battle of Valentine-Pierre, threatened social order. Economically, the camps were a short-term fix that sidestepped the deeper issue, a lack of demand in Canada's export-driven economy. They built roads, but not recovery. So what was it like to live in these camps compared to something like Vancouver's slums? Relief camps scattered across BC's wilderness, places like Otter Point on Vancouver Island or Revelstoke's mountain sites, housed men in crude wooden barracks. Each man got a bunk, blankets, and 3 meals daily, often basic fare like beans, bread, and stew. Medical care was available, but facilities were rudimentary, and work injuries were common. The 20-cent daily wage covered small personal items like tobacco, but offered no path to savings or independence. The camp's military-style discipline, enforced by army officers, chafed many workers who felt like prisoners in remote forests. By April 1935, frustration boiled over, with 1,500 camp workers in BC striking and launching the On to Ottawa trek, A 3,000-mile protest march that ended in the violent Regina riot, where police killed one trekker and injured dozens. Now picture Vancouver's downtown east side, then known as Skid Row. This neighborhood, stretching from Hastings to Cordova Street, was a last resort for the unemployed, especially older or disabled men ineligible for camps. Historic records describe ramshackle wooden tenements, some housing 20 people in a single room with no running water or heat. Muddy streets piled with garbage bred diseases like scurvy and tuberculosis. Health reports from 1933 noted malnutrition rates as high as 40% in this area. Beer parlors and illegal brothels dotted the slums, reflecting desperation and a lack of oversight. Unlike the camps, slums offered no structured relief, no guaranteed meals or medical care, but they allowed freedom. Men could hustle for odd jobs or beg, though earnings were meager. From a real estate perspective, the camps were temporary government-built structures on Crown land, costing about $500 per barracks to house 50 men. Slums, by contrast, were privately owned, often by absentee landlords charging $1 to $2 monthly for squalid rooms, exploiting tenants with nowhere else to go. Both environments trapped people in poverty, but the camps controlled lives while the slums abandoned them. The relief camps of British Columbia were a desperate experiment in a desperate time. Economically, they built infrastructure on a shoestring, but failed to spark recovery or empower workers. Their Spartan barracks offered shelter, but no hope, much like the slums of Vancouver's downtown east side, where poverty festered without structure. Historians show us that the camps, while keeping men alive, exposed Canada's fragile social safety net, fueling protests that pushed for change. Camps and slums were both stopgaps, not solutions, reminding us that true progress requires investment in people, not just property. This chapter of Canada's history teaches us resilience and the power of collective action to demand better. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into Canada's past. Like and subscribe for more stories on history, economics, politics, and real estate. I'm Ian with the Remax Golfing team, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.